Welcome back to another installment of New Meta Podcast 139. We're back to talk about many things. Stat Corner's back, games are back, some off-lane thoughts, some hot meta heroes, all that good stuff. Marco, you're also back. How are you this week?
I'm bad, I've been anywhere. I'm doing good. I'm doing very good because I got a good beverage today.
Oh, really?
Fantastic beverage that's not hit the scenes in quite a while.
Do you want to enlighten us? What's this beverage?
The malted milk back.
Oh my word, we're back! Wow.
Malted Marco.
Malted milk to go with the molten madness week.
Nice. I had a new drink today as well, actually. I had a Mountain Dew, like, citrus thing. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, sounds like a risky drink, that.
Yeah, what do you mean a risky drink? Sounds...
Health implications?
Oh yeah, health implications are absolutely abysmal. It's 48% of your sugars.
Nice.
So good to absorb that in about 5 minutes, get you off to a good start.
That's just the recommended. You can go over. It's okay.
Nice, that's the attitude, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, that's what we need Big Sam to tell us. You can go over, it's fine.
Yeah. Adam, welcome to the pod. Likewise, how are you doing this week?
Good. Good.
Nice. No new beverages.
Yeah, what's the beverage?
That'd be Diet Coke.
Nice.
Every day.
I can get behind some Diet Coke. That's some good stuff.
Not as
right
much
there.
as our former president, Donald J. Trump. He had 12 a day. I do not drink that much.
Ugh.
12 a day?
Yes.
I don't think I have that much water. Honestly. 12 a day, that's crazy. He was probably on a lot of things. I don't think you should be the most powerful man in the world at the age that he is. I mean, Biden's even older, so I feel like when I'm that age, I'm going to have to be pumped with so many drugs to be bothered to have such a high-intensity stress job. Going to take more than Diet Coke, I think.
That's just the baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, you need a constant flow of Diet Coke, and then any particularly stressful days, you need to wheel in the experts, get you some good stuff. Anyway, back to Dota. How have our games been this week? I don't know if you want to kick us off, Marco, with some games or just some Dota thoughts over the last week.
Games have been pretty sad. I played a good handful on Sunday and was bitterly disappointed with the outcome. There was they felt like such undeserved losses. The first one was just mentally broke me. It made me think ranked is just not a fun place. So I'm playing POS 5, and what you think about POS 5 is your biggest impact is 0 to 20 minutes. Like, you watch your Jenkins videos, this is the time for the POS 5 relative strength to do the most work. 0 to 20 minutes, I'm a witch doctor, POS 5, come to the office, do an exceptional job, 20 minutes in, maybe 25 minutes in, 20k up, 20k gold, 20k experience up, flying, graph, straight line gradient, and then, honestly, so I was malding in our WhatsApp about this, and it feels like it's happened quite a lot, though. If I'm in a advantageous position, like too advantageous a position in ranked, it's difficult. I'd rather be 10k up than 20k up. 100%. Because at 20k, everyone starts molding, everyone starts getting a bit bitchy, wants to kind of do their own thing, like takes the foot off the pedal big time, and then it's always the case that when you're 20k behind, the enemy team's like Super Saiyan, Sweat Masters, like doing anything they can to win because it's fucking high level ranked, and it's the worst combo because then straight line up graph, straight line, constant gradient up to 20k gold XP, and then 10 minutes later, boosh, straight line, negative gradient. Like, there's not even any kind of, it's just straight down. There's no kind of comeback or stabilizing, we'll get back to equal. It's just straight line, we'll lose the game 10 minutes later. And that happened honestly like 2 or 3 times, where there's not even any competition in the first 20, and then there's no competition in the next 10, and it's lost. And it's just been like, honestly, it's so sad. Just when you've won the game, I don't know what Dota's probability would say, but I'm sure it would say at least 90% in this game 95% plus because it was genuinely 20k gold XP, and it just blows my mind how in ranked people can tilt so hard and just whine and stuff. So basically, a few bad ranked experiences.
Sounds like a great week.
It happened a few times. So despairing that, and it's so annoying because like we've won the game. Our win probability is 90% plus. We've pretty much won the game. We've done what we need to win. We've got gold XP, map control. We've got all the tools to win. We now just need to like kind of become Super Saiyan 10-year-old mental age rather than 5-year-old mental age in order to like, kind of like see that win through, and it just doesn't happen. It is so frustrating. Like, it's more frustrating than just getting slapped. However, I did also get slapped, which is sad. There was a 23-minute loss against a Huskar and an Oracle Smurf. So it's a bad sign when it's a Huskar Oracle, and it's a bad sign when the Oracle's a Smurf that 1v5s your team. Like, we had the worst heroes to deal with a Huskar. We had then heroes that Oracle just, I don't know, outplayed, magic immunity, like all our spells don't do anything. We've got clockwork feeding, snapfire feeding, and it's just sad. 23-minute loss. And then a loss to the Cheese Axe, which Adam knows a lot about, so...
That was a great one. Just for the listeners, that was a great one. Getting the WhatsApp messages from Marco about the Cheese Axe, like, sprung on you about finally realising, not finally, but just realising firsthand the bonkersness of the axe carry. Just spin for fun, trillion damage.
Yeah,
I've never seen Marco so mad.
Honestly, it's honestly because that axe player played a solid 1000 MMR less good than everyone in the game. Our team played really good Dota, played really well, took all the right fights, did all the right engagements. Axe didn't. Axe is out of position, getting caught out, playing kind of bad, it doesn't take a chess master to press it Manta and go shove waves better than a TB or Naga could ever do with illusions. Doesn't take, don't need any brain cells to do that. He played so crap, but because the hero's mechanics with this spin shit are so brokenly strong, we would die and not kill him, and he would live and just do ridiculous damage output that no hero should be able to do. Honestly, so tilting. We did not fucking deserve to lose that game.
You can spin on buildings, can't you?
I don't know.
You just proc spin, but it doesn't damage the building. Is that right? Because I was spinning on buildings, and I was thinking, well, this is pretty fun.
When it attacks you and when you attack.
Yeah. That axe stuff's pretty good. I don't know if we're going to get to it later in the pod, maybe after games and Stat Corner and stuff, when we get on to talking about some hot heroes right now. So maybe we'll revisit the axe.
I mean, I'm hoping that by next week he's been corrected patch-wise, because it's fucking annoying.
Is this where we get Adam in for the first-hand experience of axe? How have your games been?
Before we go to that, I'm putting my foot down and saying I was here first. Pos 1 Axe, I was here first.
Yeah.
That's a message to everyone. I was there first. Go back 3-4 months. I was doing.
You were there, but they didn't have the shards didn't exist.
Yeah, because I was doing an even better build with dignity. Like, I was doing a genuine, dignified build.
It was a talent.
Oh, what was a talent? That you proc spin?
That
didn't matter. To me, it was all about the minus armor strat, because your Ags gives minus armor. So you go kind of Ags Dezo, you right click like a monster. None of this broken, abusive shit that the Shard Manta gives you.
You're a dignified Axe carry player.
Absolutely. And I was doing it months ago. So Zai, getting all this praise. Ugh, look at this new drop. No. New meta found it first.
Marco Tanko carry out.
That's me out. I'm out. See you next week.
Final whistle. See you next week.
Go on, Adam. The dark side can give its take.
No, I've played it quite a bit. It's fun. That's why I did it. I don't think it's necessarily that OP or good. I think it's pretty counterable. Also, doesn't come online until like 20 minutes. And that's if you have a good game. And with the popular supports like Lion, he just kills all your stuff anyways. There's so many like Disruptor, just glimpses, kills one of your illusions. Like, it's I don't know. You can definitely roll over it. I've been rolled over, but then there are times where I've played it and it's felt amazing. There was one game in particular that was an hour long, and we were very far behind, had no business of being in the game, but we had me in one lane pushing out with Axe Illusions. We had a Radiance, Manta, Abaddon pushing out the opposite lane with Manta Illusions, and then we had a 5 Nature's Prophet with upgraded Treants pushing out the third lane. So even though we were like 15k behind, the other team couldn't get out of their base. So that felt pretty awesome. And it's quite fun to blink on someone and then pop Manta and then just like wail on them. That does feel really good. All the spins.
It's like anti-mage when you've got Abyssal, except you just have Berserker's Call instead.
And your damage output's about 5 times higher.
Yeah. Good
but
times.
if the other... I mean, I've played it and like other team picks Ursa, feels terrible. Because he doesn't care that you call him, he's just like, thank you. And he kills you within your call duration. And then anybody that insta kills illusions, it feels bad. One time I was against a support Abaddon, another hero that you don't want to call, and when you call, he hits you, and you get silenced out of it. And that feels, in your call duration, that feels really terrible. But yeah, fun. Also, just a shout out, if you get the late game build, Octarine Core plus Arcane Blink, and a Hex, you can Arcane Blink call, stun for 3.2 seconds, Hex for another 3.5 seconds, and by the time that period is done, you'll have another call for another 3.2 seconds, so it's 9.9 seconds of lockdown on a single target. That feels OP.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Certain heroes just can't play the game if you do that. If you have 10 seconds of Manta Illusions wailing and spinning on a carry, not a lot they can do.
Yeah, it sounds like some good stuff. I had a win with the carry axe as well. That was the Marco.
I think I watched that for a little
Luna.
bit. Yeah, the Sweaty Luna. We got him on that Luna streak.
Yeah, I've got a 3 Luna streak going. I'm ready for Luna.
We had that really like the snooziest stomp ever where all 3 of us were cores and all 3 of us had 0 deaths.
Oh, that's a first.
That's a great game.
That's actually a record.
I was the snooziest 5-0-6 Wind Ranger middle. Like, you was saying after the game, I farmed up a Maelstrom. Did I go and look and kill someone? No, I just kept farming. I got my BKB next. Did I go and try and kill someone? No, I just kept farming. And then it was like all of a sudden, we have an 800 GPM Luna, and we're hitting high ground, and we have BKBs, and it's like, I guess the game just ends. Even though like it feels like nothing's happened.
That game was such a good game, honestly, because the enemy team, the good players, they were better players on average than we were, but we were clinical and played the macro and played the objectives so well. We never bothered fighting. A perfect example if you don't need to kill heroes to win a game. Honestly, everything that last episode came up in this game, honestly, like, perfectly.
We just happened to, like, role play it.
Yeah.
Exact scenario. I have 2 more stories. So that I played my 1 ranked game of the week.
Oh my god, if you won this.
I lost power during the laning phase.
Well, like internet or like mental
no,
power?
like
or...
a brownout. Like my computer died, and then it said it was overheating, and I had to force restart it, and then the internet wasn't working, and I'd go downstairs and like reset the router, and I come back, and we were like dominating the laning stage.
That's easy. Boss 5 AFK, still dominating laning stage.
No, like we were dominating, and then I DC'd, and then all of a sudden I'm level 4, and I'm like, I didn't abandon. I'm behind the entire game, like 5 levels behind everyone, but I'm still like, doing my trusty duty. We get 20k ahead, 2 racks up, plus the tier 3 in the 3rd lane, and then infighting happens amongst the team. Oof. And I think to prove a point, they just started feeding, and we lost 20k up. Just like, I don't get it. The midday Spanish-speaking players, I'll just say, seem to have a perverse sense of humor when it comes to like trolling and trying to throw games on purpose to prove a point. So somebody got an avoid. That one really upset me because it's like, why did I do this? Like, why did I load up? Why did I scramble to get back into this game? Only for us, to recover and get this really huge lead just for someone to be like, no, I don't like the way you talked to me just there. I'm going to go feed. And then while that person's dead, someone else is like, yeah, I'm going to go do that too. And then you never get anyone, and then, like, you never get 5 people ever again, and then you just lose. And then someone's like, we didn't have a Lotus Orb that game. And I was like, I have a Lotus Orb in my inventory. Literally don't know what you're talking about.
We had that in our sweaty game, the Pango, like 2 minutes after we got Aegis, was like, we need to get Aegis. I was like, how can you not know that we've got Aegis like 2 minutes ago? Yeah, so funny when people just
like, I actually have one in my inventory, Nice Eyes, and he's like, you never cast it on me, Nice Eyes.
Nice Eyes.
And then, it was sad.
I saved myself from one of those moments the other day because it was in one of the lunar winds, and your Aegis had just expired about 5 seconds ago. And then I wanted to say, like, check Roche, but, like, as I was saying it, I realised that obviously
the horn goes up.
So I was like, Roche is going to be up in, like, 5 minutes or something. To save myself from the...
Forward thinking.
Yeah, so that was fine.
No, but my big game, like, the highlight of the week, maybe the month,
of the year,
was this game I played late last night, in a 3-stack. And usually when I play with this group of guys at these hours, like, 1 a.m. or so, there's a chance you run into pro players. Like, anytime a pro player crew, like, if they queue with a legend player or something, like one low person, it brings them down low enough to, like, dip into where we queue, if that makes sense.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's wherever we play, like, double-digit ranked people. And usually, the guy I play with, like, he instantly gives up. He's like, the game's over. I just want to abandon, like, and dodge. Like, if we ever run into Owie stack, he's like, I'm just going to abandon. I don't even want to play it. Like, that type of stuff. And so we see on the other team, they have DNM from 5-Man Midas and Angel from Infamous. So that's, like, a rank 70 and a rank 10 player. And immediately,
damn, son.
It's like, this game's over. Like, let's not do it. And, like, he's like, I got an abandon to tank. Like, I can do it if you really want to do it. And it's like, no, let's just play. Like, you can learn something. And, like, the whole point is to play against the good people and learn. And then we load into the game, and it turns out our 5-position pudge is Boris from Simply 2 Based. So we got 3 DPC players in this game. And if he didn't, like, so there's, like, sorry, Boris, like, Drow's already given up, and he's just like, why? It's just a game, and Drow's like, I'm bad, and Boris says, bad is just a state of mind. And then 5 Pudge rips off a 15-7, 16 performance, 30 flesh heaps in 31 minutes, like, just absolutely wrecks the game. And we're hitting, like, Mirana arrows all over the place. It doesn't matter that the other team has, like, a rank 70 troll and a rank 10 TA, and they're, like, farming super hard. Doesn't matter. We just like, the power of friendship. The power of positivity. We're just like, bad is a state of mind, and I'm not going to be bad. Like, I'm going to play well. And then we all played well. And that game is like a masterclass in just rotations and communication and just playing. And it's really funny to watch, like, Pudges, like, beat TAs. Like, 5 Pudge beat a TA in a man fight. Because he just, like, rots off all the refractions. And then TA's like, well, I'm just going to kill you. And then he pops Ghost Scepter and is still rotting through the second set of refractions. And then he just dismembers and then hooks. And you're like, man, what even is DotA? Like, it just shows you anything can happen. And if you're good, really anything can happen. And how do you be good? You just think bad is a state of mind. You do positive thinking, and it's like how much better you can play when you just like treat it as a game and laugh. It's pretty fun.
Seeing that TA person rank 9 now, that badge of top 10 immortal, to see that in your game is like, holy shit! Like, you think the immortal badge is cool, like in top 10 is like, very cool.
When you load into the game, right? It doesn't, like, when you're in the game, it reverts the nicknames to their pro player names.
Yeah.
So that's the only, and they're all like anonymous on Dota Buff, so you can, you can't like look at it after the fact. You're just like, oh, I didn't realize this random guy on my team was Boris. That's twice I've played with him, and he's been like super positive both times, and we've won like stomped both times. Like,
the come dine with me, Immortal, too strong. You're omitting the most important player here. Forget rank 9, rank 2,500 or whatever it is. Centaur Warrunner, NA God.
Is that what it says?
Well, I don't know what your rank is, but it doesn't show it. But
it disappeared. But I was in the I was like high 1900s.
Wow, too strong. There you go.
But yeah, I don't know. No, that's one of those games that you remember.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'll go over my games briefly. I have this weird bug the last week where I click on the Play Dota icon and then select under the rank drop-down menu, I select offlane and then search, and then I have this weird bug where I actually can't. It won't let me lose a game
if it's ranked. Not
if it's ranked. Though. Yeah. See, I was gonna say that in general, like an Underlord bug where I can't lose, but then we lost yesterday, so that's unfortunate. But Adam didn't buy BKB, so there you go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with my Underlord perfect game, obviously, as you'd expect. But yeah, I got the Ancient 5 badge back, which is quite nice, and then I was 10% towards Divine, and then I had to play for tokens, which is another bug, because I have a bug where when I play all roles, it's a guaranteed loss, if I get hard support, which we usually do. So lots of guaranteed wins and guaranteed losses. That's basically been the flavour of my Dota experience. But I got a win on LC in ranked. That's the first. And then it's basically just Underlord Dota, and then a bit of Sanking, bit of Centaur, one game of LC. Good stuff. I played 2 Magnuses in unranked that went really well. Mag's actually such a fun hero, and there's no real pressure, because I feel like of all the offlane heroes, he's the one where you can sort of play 3.5 and it's fine. Because really, all you really need to do to have good enough impact to win the game is give your carry or mid or whatever in power, and then get some blink skewers or get like a nice RP or something. But yeah, that's what I've been doing with Mag, and it seems to work quite well. I love getting shockwaves into skewers, because it pulls them in. So if they're ahead of you, they think they can't get skewered under your tower in the laning stage, but they actually can, because you shockwave them and then skewer backwards, and that's a very fun play. I had one of those feel-good kills in the lane where you're sort of getting crushed in the lane, and then you kill their carry, and it's just the game's back on suddenly. So I had a nice skewer play for that, and it just feels good skewering someone. It's just a good feeling.
Have you done the horn toss into skewer?
No, I didn't find the horn toss gold, because other items were more important, but I have used it in the past. I got horn toss when the shard first came out. It's quite fun. It's not too bad, extra bit of disable and stuff.
They the game where I was axe middle and you empowered me, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was great. That was good. I love casting Empower. Look
at this slow axe cleaving. It's actually just so much faster to spin, but it was funny.
Yeah.
And you actually, you attack kind of fast with the Manta, so it's not actually that bad. It's a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, there you go. I gave you Empower level 1 mid. I remember you starting the laning stage like, oh, I've got Empower. Let's go. It's time to test your knowledge once again. the return of Stat Corner. It's been getting raving reviews on the Discord, which brings me mixed feelings, because on the one hand I'm really happy that people like it, but, well, I say people, about 3 people like it, but on the other hand means I've got to slave away for finding stats, so more work for me, but there you are. So, cast range, which actually was Marco's suggestion, so I'm expecting big things here, Marco. I don't know if you've been doing your revision.
You better been studying all week.
Yeah, man. And I don't really know where to start. I've gone for your classic stuns, mainly, and then some items, some important items, and cast range bonuses and stuff like that. You're a Shadow Shaman. You've got 3 spells that matter in terms of the cast range. Aethershock, Hex, and Shackle. I wonder if you can tell me which one's got what range in order, and then bonus points if you can tell me what the actual numbers are.
Well, Aethershock is somewhat deceptive because I think it's got the lowest or second lowest cast range, but you could hit someone further away because of the way the chain fork lightning works, you know what I mean? You cast it on a target near you, and one of the fork of lightnings hits a target further away. So
you're already
jumping
wrong.
the gun. What do you mean wrong?
Aethershock's got the longest cast range of the 3.
So it's got the longest cast range? Okay, interesting.
It's got a cast range, yeah, and then the other 2?
I would say that Shackle's got a longer one than Hex for Rasta. But I'm not
Any
certain.
advances on that, Adam?
The cast ranges in order? Hex, Shackle, Aethershock. With Aethershock being the longest.
Yeah, so Aethershock's the longest with 600, and then I'm afraid to break it to you, but Hex has 500 and Shackle has 400. So with the Shard, Shackle obviously goes longer. So if you do have the Shard, that will change, but actually Shackle has a 400 cast range, which isn't very long at all.
Trick question, everyone buys a Shard in Aetherlands.
Yeah. So bearing in mind that Hex is 500 on Shadow Shaman, it's also 500 on Lion. And then Earthspike, a classic cast range example because of the difference between its point and click target and the max range it can stun if you floor target. I wonder, first of all, what you think the cast range of Earthshock point target is, Earthspike, given that Hex is 500. And I'll be
800 and it can go 1,000.
Wait.
If you ground target.
800 to 1,000?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? For Lion's Earthspike we're talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
800?
800
for
is pretty
click.
long. That's double.
Adam,
Shackle.
are you memeing? 800? Is there some?
I guess I am.
Are you like stacking 6 Aetherlands?
You say maybe then 600 goes 800?
No, I'm thinking it's 450 to 600.
So you're going to be shocked, Marco, at how far you can stun with this spell. 900 if you floor target.
900 for
So
Lion's Earth.
So this is the difference. So 575 point target. So short of 600. So not much longer than Hex. If you target the floor, max distance you will stun is 900. So you get an extra 325 cast range if you target the floor. That is unbelievable.
This guy acted like I was that off.
You were
Yeah,
100 off. That's it. Yeah, it's crazy.
That is actually bonkers. 900.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to say 800 for the initial cast range is
that's wild.
Insanely wrong in my eyes. But yeah, the travel, you got the 300 right.
Finger of Death.
Cast range.
That one's long.
800.
That's a 9 ball. That's 900.
I was going to say 900. No, let's know me. I was going to say 1,200. Let's be honest. Wink, wink. It does feel like it can go farther, though. Like, if someone's walking away, you know how you get that, like, you, like, click it and they barely go in the range, and it starts to go off, and then they, like, walk away or something, and
it's one of those where...
long.
Do you guys know what nighttime vision is for a normal hero?
900, and then daytime 1200.
Is that right?
Oh no, is it 1600, 800?
No, it's like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure Finger of Death is one of those spells that is longer cast range than Nighttime Vision, because it's one of those where you start the animation and then they get out, they just escape vision as you're casting it, running away from you.
Looking at Lion's page, he's got 1800, 800 day night.
Okay.
So I think 1600, 800 is the norm, and then some have more day and night.
Some have more night, like
Slark has the
Slark
same,
and Luna.
Yeah.
Shackle Shot?
Cooldown? Oh wait, no, sorry. The cooldown, I think, is 12 to 10 because of the -2 level 10 talent. But is that right? 12 seconds at level 4?
Don't know, you should have asked me last week.
It took me this entire time to
cooldowns.
realize what Shackle Shot was. I was like, what spell, like, whose spell is this? Yeah.
Alright, so cast range. I feel like you can do that from quite far away.
Does feel like quite far. So the context again, Hex is 500. The spell Hex is 500.
For a shackle. 800.
Yeah, 800, but bang on. Which is the same as the cast range for Rubik's Fade Bolt. Telekinesis, interestingly, scales from 550 to 625, so it's one of those spells that scales in cast range. Here's another two that scale in cast range: Borrow Strike and X Marks the Spot. We'll start with Borrow Strike. I don't know if you can tell me the very underwhelming cast range at level 1 and the potential cast range at level 4. This scales at 100 at a time.
Oh,
so.
dude,
It's
I was going to say
300.
I'd say 250.
Okay, so
upward.
400's not quite as bad.
Okay.
Up to 700.
Yeah, up to 700.
not
Bonus
bad.
points if you can tell me what it is with Ags.
I'm going to say 1.6.
I want to say 1.5.
1.3. 1.3.
Wait,
And then
so
X
it
marks the spot.
doubles
Sorry, go on.
almost. It just doubles almost.
Almost doubles, yeah, almost doubles. I'll go through one more spell, and then I'll speed it up and we'll do some items, but X marks the spot at max level.
1200.
X marks a spot at low levels?
No, just max level, level 4.
Oh, like 12.
It's actually just 1000, but that's still, I think, the longest range. I don't know if you call it hard disable, because you can BKB it off, so it's not really hard disable, but it kind of is. I would say that
catch, but then you could say hook.
It's this sort of instant point and click catch, isn't it? So it's a strong spell. Interestingly, Invoker's Cold Snap is 1000 range, so that is a long range.
It's so tilting because you wouldn't think any spell, let alone an invoked spell, would have that cast range. So you pop a salve, and then ramp to ramp, tower to tower, even it's fucking popped. Oh my god, I've been tilted many times by Invoker Cold Snap.
It's double hex, so it really is crazy. And Tornado, that's 2000 cast range, so that's a long one right there. I won't quiz you with the Bane spells that I've listed here, but Brain Sap's 600, Nightmare is up to 650, and then Grip is 625, so 600, 625, and 650 for Bane spells, which I thought was quite funny. I don't know if you can tell me what the increase in cast range you receive from an Aether Lens is.
Yikes.
Either 125 or 150. Oh wait, is it 250?
I wanted to say 250. But I feel like that's too much now.
I think 150.
Maybe
but I reckon this has been
200 now.
changed.
225.
225.
Okay.
So if you get an Aether Lens, you are increasing the cast range of your Hex, if you're Shaman or Lion, by 50%. That's a 50% increase. That's very sizable. Interestingly, Arcane Supremacy on Rubik is actually better than that. It's 250 at max level. So you really are getting some crazy cast range from that passive.
That's when you get that, and the Aether Lens, and the Seer Stone.
Yeah.
Or the Psychic Headband, or the Keen Optic.
Yeah, telescopes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only
Super
recently
long.
learned that Arcane Supremacy, which is a name I wouldn't even know for the Rubik passive, increases cast range.
Well, there you go. Increase it by
Along
250.
with, what's the other bit? Is it spell damage amp?
Spell amp, yeah.
Okay.
They changed it. It used to be like debuff duration.
And then before that, it used to be something else, didn't it?
It used to be null field and give you magic resist.
Yeah, you used to be able to toggle it. Yeah, that's so funny. That it's weird how quickly you forget. But yeah, Arcane Supremacy now is just spell amp. 26% at max level is quite reasonably considerable.
Yeah, strong.
Yeah, and then Blink.
So I've got a guess for the max range.
That's
1.3.
1200.
And then the penalty is 900.
I'm not sure about the penalty. I know
I
that
think
the
they
max
got rid
range
of the
is
penalty, didn't they?
1,200. I think there still is
1.2.
penalty.
I think when I checked on Dota Wiki, it still says
Checked on Dota Wiki. Are we cheating?
penalty blink
What
960.
happens?
Not like I've recently.
Yeah.
What happens when you double tap?
That just blinks you home.
Is that 1200 or is that 960?
I reckon 960 because I reckon.
Yeah, I
it'll
don't
be
think it gives you the full one. I don't think so.
Yeah, I reckon it'll just be like you've blinked to the fountain.
Double tap blink sounds weird. I have it on quick cast, so it's not even possible for me. Final one that I'll go through, Scythe of Vice, bearing in mind that the spell hex is 500. I wonder what you think Scythe of Vice is.
600.
600.
800.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's why you cast it and you're out of range of auto attacking, and you're like, I wasted this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Orchid is 900, so Orchid's even longer. You're looking at 550 for the support trio of Glimmercape, Forstaff, and Yule Scepter, and Atos a mighty 1,100, and that's the same for Gleipnir too. And that rounds up Stat Corner.
Cast ranges are hard.
Marco, you've written some tips about spell casting. I don't know if you want to bring that up.
I'm happy to rinse them off just quick. It was in the week playing party games, and I kind of thought of a couple pointers to mention. Wait, and it's not just they happen once and only in these games. I feel like it's stuff that happens often in games, in ranked, unranked, to do better spell casting. So the first one was about, let's suppose two enemy heroes, and you're running at them, and say it's a +4 or +5, and one of the enemy heroes you've seen, let's say it's a Lich, they've thrown off Chain Frost, they've done a Q, and they've got their ice armor off. Then the other hero,
They've got ice
enemy
armor.
hero, is that what it's called? Frost armor?
Yeah, I can't remember. Is it ice armor?
Go on, Adam. Lich.
I don't know, is it Frost Shield or something?
I think it's Frost
Shield.
Shield, yeah.
So anyway, two enemy heroes. Suppose one's a Lich, casts all three spells. That hero is now completely redundant. And let's say that the other enemy hero next to the Lich hasn't cast any spells. It should be obvious, that little thought experiment of who your disable priority goes on. But obviously it can be easy to think, oh, you see the Lich first, or the Lich is a bit closer, I'll just disable the first enemy hero that I come across. But if you had disabled, say, the enemy that hadn't cast all their spells, you would be doing a lot more value. And I've seen it a few times in games, and it's recognizing, what spells have been cast, and therefore what's scary, what's not. And in that case, it's obviously completely redundant to disable the Lich that's got all cooldowns up versus the hero that's not cast any spells. So that's one to think about. It particularly happens with supports when they've blown spells, recognizing that you don't need to essentially overcommit and blow too much on them. Also, in a game I had in ranked, actually, a similar vein, I think it was something like, I don't know if a hero got hooked out of the base, and basically we're killing a hero that, and I'm maybe a centaur and I've got Hoof Stomp. This hero's 100% dead in a few seconds. Should I Hoof Stomp? Should I not? Absolutely not. Because by Hoof Stomping there, it's now CD for 12 seconds, and I've got Blink up, ready to fight, ready to go, but I can't initiate because I wasted a spell, overcommitting on this kill that's already dead. If you know what I mean? So that's another example of thinking about what spells need to be cast. Do they need to be cast or not? And then who should they be cast on? So that's a bit of spell casting. And then the second one, again, spell casting, and I see it all the time. Stan loves to do this. Ranked people love to do it. Is the setup into stun combo. The Yule's Arrow, the Yule's LSA or Impale. These kind of combos, people getting in their head, I've got a Yule, so I have to Yule's then stun. Split Earth, for example. I have to use an arrow. But in lots of cases, you could maybe have a 90% chance to land your spell without using Yule's.
That's me out.
Yeah, well, no, because say they're like walking up a ramp, you could just cast a stun. I've seen a couple cases recently where there's a Rasta shackling someone, and rather than just throw a stun on the hero, just a standing still target, throw an arrow or a stun, people have Yule's the Rasta to then stun, and it's like, the guy was stood still channeling his stun. Did you really need to waste 3 seconds of Yule's time to then land? Like, what's the difference? And then, other cases of there might be a fight going on, and if you don't necessarily need to cast that Yule's to land the stun, then you really shouldn't, because you're just wasting time, giving the enemy time to react. You can even waste time trying to get the Yule's off rather than just throwing the stun. It can be really detrimental, honestly. So, again, it's recognizing, can I cast my spell with high certainty of landing? I've got a Yule's, but I don't necessarily have to use it. Because also with Yule's, another thing, generally people get it in their head that they have to use it for the stun setup, and they kind of forget that it's an item outside of stun setup. So you could stun one hero, Yule's another, just to get them out of the fight for 3 seconds. Like, that is a massive value in a lot of mid-game fights. So,
or dispelling yourself as another
dispelling
classic,
yourself
like
as well.
Just buying yourself time when you get gone on.
Worth bearing that in mind. So I think too often people will go, that's the only way they use Yule's in fights, and often it's actually negative value to do that because it wastes time, and then you don't have it up for another purpose like disabling a hero or saving yourself. So bit of a Yule's thinking exercise, but a couple pointers I came across a couple of times in games worth mentioning, thinking about.
Targeting's so huge in DotA, like who you target in team fights. It's a big separator between, even when you watch pro games and like high level pubs, it's a big difference. Like, they know exactly who to target, and it's incredible watching. I know some games from the Singapore Major where in the middle of a team fight, the whole team will just hone in on one hero like instantly as soon as they show themselves for whatever reason, obviously because they've identified that that's the best thing to do. But it's quite remarkable, because in pubs that just doesn't happen. And it reminds me a lot of playing TA, actually, which is a hero that I struggled a lot with when I first started playing, and my statistics still bear the brunt of that struggle despite better performances in recent years. But anyway, that's not a touchy subject for me anyway. TA is difficult, or I find TA particularly difficult, because if you get the targeting wrong, it's such a punishing hero, and that's why I think why the win rates expect to be so much higher in 7K games versus the lower you go, because if you jump with blink and refraction and meld and stuff, you're gonna be able to blow a hero if you've got BKB, say, just pretty much guaranteed. But once you've made that initial jump, you're very squishy, very, very squishy. So, well done, you blinked and you blew a Rasta in like 1 second that had already used Hex. You haven't really achieved anything. It's like you say, it's so what? It doesn't matter. You already got his spells off, and now you're in a vulnerable position. So
definitely, particularly in team fights, the more heroes there are, the more difficult it is to understand what's optimal, and that's such a hard skill, and the pros do it so well. But we get easy examples to instantly improve on and think of are the shorter, smaller skirmishes, 2 heroes, maybe even 3 heroes. Who's got the dangerous spells? Have they used them? Have they not?
Yeah. I just have a quick little segment about numbers, and this is inspired by Underlord particularly, because I think it's the most obvious of Underlord, but it still applies with all your offlane heroes, especially the Vanguard building offlaners. Centaur comes to mind, but Sand King as well with Sandstorm. These are heroes that de-push and absorb pressure really, really well. Centaur with Double Legend, because he's unkillable, and then obviously Firestorm and Sandstorm. And I think a really underrated or not thought about way of getting ahead in a game that I've sort of abused a little bit over the last sort of week is being able to alleviate pressure that's being put on you by like 4 heroes just by being able to D-push a wave. So, for example, a classic example would be enemies decide that they want to kill mid tower or whatever, any tower, some tier 1, and you just sit there, cast your spell on the wave, be very tanky and very hard for them to go on you. If they dive you, that's great, because you can TP in and take an advantageous fight under your tower because you're being dived, and that's going to happen like in your pubs pretty much, maybe in like the absolute trench of trench, just there's no TP rotations ever, but that tends to be a good situation for you, being dived. And also, it's just, you get so far ahead when your team is farming the rest of the map and 4 enemy heroes are pushing a tower for 5 minutes. That's just an incredibly winning situation, and so I think it's something that you should look for if you can in the right circumstance. Obviously, it's pretty bad if you TP to a lane to D-push and then they go on you and kill you. So it's not like it's just free, but that's a pattern that I've been seeing a lot. And it's often triggered by the enemies getting a kill, so they'll kill one of your cores, they might kill your mid or your carry or even one of your supports and think, right, we need to push a tower now. And it's a classic case of pubbers getting overextended, getting ahead of themselves, thinking they're stronger than they are because of what's happened before in the game. And then they're met with D-push from you, or just you sitting, absorbing all the pressure, and your carry suddenly isn't being pressured anymore because there's been this compression of enemy heroes around one lane and around one tower trying to push an objective because they've killed a hero, rather than occupying the rest of the lanes, farming and staying in your lane, like similar to the stuff we were talking about last week. So that's just a thought I had this week about numbers. Bring in the numbers, bring in just yourself, and if you can occupy the time of 3 heroes with just you, that's just a winning recipe for you in the early game. I don't have a lot else to say. But yeah.
That's a good point.
It's a pretty obvious one. It's a pretty obvious one.
No, it's good. Even better if you're someone like Wyvern.
Yeah.
Or, support just holding the tower, and you can just push out forever. Or like a support, or something.
The thing with...
If they die for the support, that's when the TP rotation gets really good. As opposed to them diving a core.
Yeah, the thing that I find with heroes like Wyvern or Rubik's, another example with Fadebolt, it just doesn't work half as well because you don't one-shot the creep wave like you do with Firestorm or Sandstorm or all that, and you're easier to dive. I know that the rotations can come in, and perhaps in Immortal Bracket it's better with the support, but in my games, I feel like when supports try and hold towers, it's just so much less effective than when you just slap a core like a tanky offlaner. And you're quite happy to just D-push with a Q on Underlord. You're just farming lane creeps. It's great time for you. But the concept's still the same. Obviously, if you can D-push with a support, it's still great if you can get away with it.
Concept's the same, but I think if it's the mid tower, the POS 3 should be, well, not should, but has much more reason to be there. Whereas if it's, say, the safe lane tower, I don't think the POS 3 wants to be there as much.
Yeah, I always imagine it being
the POS 4, POS 5
Radiant safe lane tower.
Yeah, I could see that in Adam's head. So that, I think the mid, you're absolutely right, because also it is more important to hold. It is easier to TP, rotate, and defend. That POS 3's got more reason to be there. I think for the safe lane tower, yeah, the support can do a less good job, but a bit of a job, and yeah, you don't want the POS 3 down there being completely isolated, probably can die, can't really TP, rotate, and save them. You actually don't want to. I know this is a good question. Do you TP rotate to that dead lane tower to try and save it? I think you do if it's like really obvious overextension that you will punish and will kill and will defend the tower and get multiple kills. But often the enemy team will commit, say, 3-4 heroes that absolutely you cannot just TP one by one into and defend. So in that case, you would not want TP rotation, so you would want to sacrifice that support, like Adam says. But to your point, I think the mid is a really good point, that because you forget, like, you do these plays without really realizing the value of them. So, I'm just going to defend the tower because tower's a tower, but really the mid tower is well worth defending, so absolutely get that 3 to keep it alive. It should be in everyone's mind. This is an important tower. Let's keep it alive. Let's depush it, etc. Should be in everyone's mind, whatever position you are. It probably won't be, but as a 3, you can definitely think about it more and defend it more.
Yeah. It feels so like if I am a support at that Radiant safe lane tower, holding out alone, and I hold off 2 or 3 waves and die, like, I am ecstatic, because that's your catch-up experience. So even just from that point, it's worth it.
Yeah, it totally depends, and on the whole, I would definitely agree. You know, you far more often see pro teams, for example, trading their tier 1s in the side lanes than you see them defend it. The exception sometimes being, exactly as you say, supports, in which case it's worth it to just sacrifice a support if they can depush or delay for a little bit. It's not important. I think, well, I was just going to say, I think there are times in pubs when it is worth it to depush and not necessarily defend like a 5-man push, but just to like occupy that part of the map, because it's not pushed with in the same. I guess maybe this isn't something that's sustainable as you climb up the ranks, but I think in most pubs, if you can sort of just play in the side lane as much as possible and let your mid and your carry like farm the mid area and farm the other side of the map, it can be advantageous. It obviously depends. Like if both teams are playing optimally, you want the trade's much safer for you because you don't want to die on 3 heroes. You certainly don't want to die on your off lane and your 2 supports versus 5 heroes on the wrong side of the map. Like it can be dangerous. So just have an extra bit of consideration.
So you're talking about, say, a safe lane tower, tier 1. Because, I absolutely agree with your points. And from experience playing in unranked, I see it. I see what is a very suboptimal, bad play all the time. And it will still be in decent pubs where that safe lane tower, so someone's off, you're in the off lane, enemy safe lane tower. I absolutely see it in our party games where there'll be 2, if not 1, hero hitting it and killing it. And in that situation, there is no reason on hell that a single hero or 2 heroes should be allowed to get a tower for free. So in that case, 1-2 TP rotations to back up that support who's holding the lane. You're absolutely going to turn kills and should turn kills because you should punish those enemy heroes for being way too aggressive, with no right to be so. And in that case, you absolutely rotate and you kill the heroes. A general point to any game, and it'll happen way more in the lower ranks, is people farming too close to towers, to enemy towers. To farm close to an enemy tower, you're vulnerable because of TP rotations. This is an exact example of it. You might think it's the early game, but if there's 1 or 2 of you hitting a safe lane tower, by God, you should be dying. You do not deserve to live. Like, that is such a bad, high-risk play. You deserve to be punished. But going to, say, Adam's level, that would never happen because people wouldn't put themselves in such a crazy risk where they know they would be at risk of enemy TP rotations and being overrun with numbers. Hence, they would typically, in these high-level games, they would have to bring, and they know they would have to bring, 3-4 heroes to that off lane to get the enemy safe lane tower, at which point, okay, we cannot defend this, and therefore our optimal play is farm mid, farm the off lane. So it is different depending on what level we're talking. I do think in the most pubs, you will have so much license to kill the enemy, having 1 or 2 heroes kill a safe lane tower. You'll have so much license to do that, and you should punish them for that. I think the higher up you go, though, you're likely not going to be able to get away with such easy free kills.
Yeah, it's not even about quote-unquote defending a push on your safe lane tower. It's more just about defending a little bit of pressure, like you say, 1 or 2 heroes. That
punishing it though, because they don't deserve to get a tower for free if the 1 or 2 heroes. All about punishing it. The better players, if you're going to win games, you punish the enemy for making mistakes. They overstep a mark, they're out of position, or they're farming too aggressively, or hitting a tower with no right. You punish them. That's how a better player would win. And when you punish someone, going back to last week's conversation, it's low risk, high reward plays. Because if I see in one of our party games 1 or 2 heroes pushing us safe lane tower, and I'm like, well, we just TP rotate 2 heroes, someone is already there, it's guaranteed easy kills, because the rest of the enemy's team's not there because they're showing elsewhere on the map, so we know guaranteed it's this 3v2 that we will win. It's a no risk, high reward play, and that's what I feel like punishing the enemy is all about. It's all about no risk, high return. And you absolutely should do that. If it is the case.
Yeah. Mid game, I don't really know if we have anything in particular to say. Anything more? Do we want to talk about some meta heroes? Because I don't really have too much more to say about mid game and late game. Maybe one thing I will say about late game is, it's just kind of like another Underlord point, but it's very relevant to the offlane. It's remarkable. It really is remarkable how much impact the unforeseen damage reduction, aura, atrophy, pipe, greaves kind of stuff. It's unbelievable the impact that has in team fights. It goes unnoticed, and that's why I think buying aura items is just so OP in lower MMRs. But I had a game the other day with Underlord where we're pushing high ground, and they have the enemy SF is in there. There's an enemy, something like some sort of, I don't think it's Luna, but maybe like a Skywrath, and then some sort of physical damage dealer as well. Basically, it's one of those games where the team fight just bursts into action suddenly and takes place over about 5 to 10 seconds, and then it's over. It's not like a long drawn out kind of situation based on the heroes. So SF, Blink, BKB, all crazy stuff happening, and I'm just sitting there on Underlord with Greaves, Pipe. Don't think I've got Crimson, but Greaves, Pipe, and obviously level 4 Atrophy Aura. With I pop all of them, W on 2 heroes, Firestorm in the middle of the fight, and it feels like I can just tell, even in my sort of small Dota monkey brain, man, these spells are just not doing the kind of damage that they should be doing to us. We're just not taking any damage. And I watched it on the sort of, whatever it's called, the Overwolf app, where it gives you highlights. I watched the fight a couple of times, and I was like, it's crazy that the impact that this hero has in like a 10-second window, because your Firestorm lasts ages, your W lasts ages, crazy AoE control in team fights, huge AoE damage, insane damage reduction on Atrophy Aura, just like a base, 35% damage reduction, just straight up? Yeah, 35% damage reduction, Pipe, Greaves. I was like, it's unbelievable how much impact it has. So just a shout out, just a name check for like auras and damage reduction and in team fights, because it's seriously underappreciated, I think, especially in the pub setting. Yeah. Any other thoughts on lessons from the offlane or anything in the mid game or late game before we move on to some meta heroes?
Did you not see my notes, Dan?
Where to farm?
Smiley face, yeah. I was inspired by Stan's pos 3s, because we've been seeing a lot of them. Yeah. And my biggest...
It's a new age.
It's a new age, yeah, the Magic T pos 3. But my biggest takeaway the mid game, and thinking about pos 3 in particular, is... I understand that pos 3 is... Alright, you've got your first item, let's say Vanguard. Second big item, Blink. Really big, really important for the game. You are going to have to take a bit of time to farm it. But we spoke about it before, so it's not new, but I saw a lot, not just you, but in games, I've been seeing pos 3s do this a lot. They're farming that key Blink dagger, and they think, I think this is my hypothesis, because it's such a big, important item, they think they now kind of transcend into this pos 1 who therefore has the right and deserves to be farming in that kind of safe, juicy, say, triangle, efficient but safe area, and this is, say, 15 minutes in the game. And they think they have that right because, I'm farming a Blink, so important, even though they're the pos 3. And to me, it's really, obviously I'm the one who's malding that you take them off farm, but more importantly is I'm the one who's weak as shit. It's 15 minutes in the game. Please, can you, Mr. really strong strength pos 3 hero, GTFO, and go farm the same gold in a more dangerous part of the map and actually put some pressure on the enemy team whilst you do it? Please, ? Smiley face. I've been seeing way too many pos 3s in this mid-game, 15-20 period, farming far too passively because they're farming a really big key item, and it honestly, I think it tricks the brain. But actually, I really, really think that you as a pos 3 need to be more aggressive in that farm. You got to take the dangerous farm. It applies pressure on the map. It forces enemies to you. Get into the wave, not the wave, into the lane and push it around. Or if you can't kind of push it to a tower, take the creeps through the jungle with you. Like, you can creep script the tier 1 and take the creeps. I mean, the tier 1 shouldn't be alive at 15, but you should get down the lanes as the pos 3 when you're farming that key second item. And I've seen it too much that they're too deep with the farm, and where to farm, it makes such a difference. It puts so much pressure on the enemy team if you're out there on the map, in the lane, pushing waves, making heroes come to you. That gives information. It's then going to give so much space and information to your 1 and 2 and your 4 and 5. It's also not going to take away that efficient farm for the pos 1 who wants to be in the triangle at 15 minutes, cause that the weak and need the farm as well. I feel like I've been seeing that a fair bit.
Couple of things I'll say. Firstly, this reminds me a lot of when Purge was teaching Day 9 how to play Dota. And I watched some of those games at the time. And Day 9 would be... you'd need like 1 creep for boots or something in the lane, or in the mid-game, need 1 creep for some sort of item or something. Everyone's guilty of this. Everyone does this. And they'll say to their carry or their mid or some hero with higher farm priority, oh, can I just have 1 creep for my boots, or like 1 creep for my arcanes or whatever? And Purge every time would just be like, nope, no you can't, because it's if that's 1 creep, that's me getting my next item just because it happens to be the last creep is irrelevant. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, brutal.
Brutal, yeah, I know. And then the other thing is that I'll say is I'm definitely guilty of passing a creep wave, or rather passing a neutral camp on my way to a lane. In my head, I've got all the intentions of, I'm an offlaner, I'm going to take some dangerous farm, but I'm just passing through a deep camp. So, you know, it'd kind of be rude not to just blow a spell quickly, blow a double edge as I'm going through or something. So I am guilty of that, I will say. But yeah, totally agreed, obviously. And it makes sense, but you see it far too often. Yeah,
you take the hard camp, and you're like, oh, I lost 3 of the creep wave. You know, I lost 3 creeps of the main creep wave to that. Now I'll go clean up the range creep. Oh, wait, the wave's still coming in? Oh, this is when I should have been taking the hard camp. Not, yeah.
Yeah, I just have a love affair with Underlord. That's why Underlord, again, is just so good, because you can just push a wave without any danger. So when you have these mid-game moments where you're on a Centaur or an LC or whatever it may be, Sand to hero that wants Blink, and you don't have it, and it's a little bit dangerous. Like, you're a little bit behind, the enemies are feeling themselves a bit on the map, and it's just a bit precarious. And sometimes in those situations, you just feel scared of doing what you should do, which is going and taking more dangerous farm. That's why Underlord's so good, because it doesn't matter how dangerous the farm is, you just walk up and queue and then walk away, and it's like, now what?
Or
with
you
Centaur
ult out.
and LC and these other ones. Yeah, or you just ult out, yeah. I just have a love affair with Underlord. Briefly then, before we wrap up, maybe a quick word on the meta. I don't know if you want to talk... We talked a little bit about the axe. Is this Adam, do you think... Is this like a legit pick? Would you be happy seeing a carry axe in your game? Is this... In your ranked game, is this top of the meta, or is it gimmicky? I know you mentioned that there's a lot of counters.
I don't know where you lane it. I've won with it in all 3 lanes, but I've also lost with it in all 3 lanes. So I don't know where you put it. If you said Zai did it, it's probably best in off lane. But it's kind of a...
I feel like you kind of want to... Yeah, I feel like you kind of want to carry it.
I had it at safe lane in my game.
It takes too long to come online for I feel like for a middle or an off lane to do.
That's how I feel.
You can't be sitting there waiting 20 minutes for the shard to come online. I mean, it's like all these shard heroes that drastically change at 20 minutes. Like, you can't just be waiting on that to make stuff happen. And with the build-up needing, like, Vanguard, Manta-style, Blink, Shard, I had one game where I got that at 20 minutes, and the game's, like, over. But it takes a lot of the time you're getting the Manta and then the Shard at 20, and then you still have to get the Blink, so you're still, like, passively creep skipping and stuff for another while. That's why it's probably kind of nice as a 1, and then you'd have the people stacking camps for you.
Yeah, I agree. I won it with it as a pos 3, but in this game we had a Pango mid, so I kind of was pos 2. And even then there's periods in the game where I'm kind of useless, almost like a carry, basically, because I don't have Blink, and I have a Vanguard, so I'm not totally just pos 1 useless hero, but I think it does so much damage that you can play it 1 and it's kind of fine. Like, you might fall off a bit going into the late game, but when you're playing Axe Core, that's going to be the case whether you play it mid or safe lane. And we just talked about why we don't think it's that good as a 3, so I think 1 is the way to go. Any other thoughts for trending meta heroes? I'm sort of sad that Faceless Void is such a good carry again. Feel like it should take longer.
That's my ban every game.
Yeah, I hate Void.
Oh,
Yeah,
why'd you hate
don't-
it? That's kind of harsh.
I don't want to play against it. Chronosphere makes me sad. Time Dilation makes me even sadder. Time Walk makes me sad.
Do you know what's
Bashes
even
make me sad.
What's sadder is when I play Void and I lose against Pos 1 Axe. That's sad.
Yeah, that should be a hero
Chrono,
that's
then.
pretty good against it.
What, Axe or Void?
Void.
Why?
Not if you get Blink called. But
He calls
can't
you
hit
and
him.
then you just bash him.
But then
That's
I'm
true,
getting
that's
spinned
true.
to death. And
Yeah,
I don't do
you
any
time
damage
walk
to him.
away.
Yeah,
And you
well,
get- and
I
you go
actually
back to
die
full.
before Time Walk comes off, so what am I going to do?
What do you mean you're not building tanky? You're not building the...
I was building tanky, I had all the tanky talents, is what I'm saying. The numbers are broken. This shouldn't happen, where I can't even Time Walk to live, because the axe is on 200 HP and just blows me. Yeah, honestly, I'm so moldy.
an interesting one. What, do you have more to say on Void before we move on? Because I was going to talk briefly about another hero.
I can just touch on Void a little. Why is it a better hero? The Chrono, I really like the change. So it was something really minor, like cast range down 50, but radius up 50. And so it's bigger radius, which I do think it is better value. Like, you want a bigger Chrono. It's easier to catch more heroes. Just catch them in it. If you think just on the outskirts, that happens more often now, which is great. Big change. And then the talents, you got 9 strength, and then 15 is 300 HP. That HP one's a new talent. So when you hit 15 with those strength HP and you got Sange to boot as well, with your Time Walk, you're such a fighter now. You're so beefy. Time Walking sustains yourself. It's a carry that's here to fight, and it's with Chrono, it makes it one of these kind of top tier carries now, even though it was getting laughed at in the Singapore Major. So just a couple minor changes, it feels, but very much relevant now.
Yeah, it's definitely bad.
What else fun?
Final point, or final hero to discuss, or heroes. What should be next on my list of offlane heroes to play a bit of play a little bit? Because in the pool, I would say Underlord, obviously, that's the S tier pool, and then below that I've got Centaur, Sanking, Slardar, maybe LC, maybe. These are heroes that I've tried. A little bit of Mag. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on where to go next. I have some candidates. I don't know if you have some that immediately come to mind. Obviously, Marco's banned my Mars.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I was going to say, okay,
banned.
Mars is banned. Good to know.
Yeah.
It's quite a big pool you've got there. I like Centaur big time.
I don't really need any more, really.
Yeah, all you need is, what was it, Centaur, Sanking,
Underlord.
Underlord, yeah. I think LC's a good one to have for the right game. if you're able, if for some reason it's a great set LC pick, it's good to know. God, if you got 4, that's plenty. But
yeah, in theory though, because there's heroes that I haven't even tried.
What about
it's
a
remarkable.
Beastie Boy?
He's
master.
Is he good though anymore?
Dead game.
Yeah.
Before he was OP, but is normal Beastmaster good without Necro? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Ags build, that's good.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay. I might try
You
Beastmaster.
haven't lived till you've done Ag Shard Hawks. That is... that's fun.
Yeah.
I feel like Doom can stomp pubs.
Yeah.
I feel like Doom stomps it and is highest net worth in the game all game. Or for some reason completely fails and is useless, but I don't see Doom enough, but I do feel like it's more often the former. That
He's
it's just this farm
snoozy,
monster.
but yeah, the anti-carry...
I mean,
is
Blink
very
Doom
strong.
someone, Centaur stomp them, run them down with your Scorched Earth. Oh, suddenly you got like drums on them and
Shiva,
Shivas and BKB.
yeah.
You're not dying. I mean, I feel like you could stomp some pubs with Doom.
Yeah, another pub stomp hero is Night Stalker as well. I think Night Stalker 3
yeah.
pub stomps.
I did think that, but I feel like it'd be hard to execute Night Stalker because it is a bit more about knowing the hero, punishing the enemy team a lot more, whereas Doom's just snooze farm.
Yeah.
So easy to farm and get fat from your farm, and then the execution's so much more basic than Night Stalker.
I think
What
Doom's
about,
like a solo pub stomper and Night Stalker's like a party ranked pub stomper.
Yeah. What about the French roly-poly?
Pangolier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds quite hard.
I don't think... Yeah, the laning's tough with Pango, I think, and he is
What do you mean?
countered
You
by
just-
like a
you
lot of
just
stuff these
disarm.
days.
You just lucky shot every hit.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, he can be completely ridiculous and obnoxious in the right hands and in the right game, but I do think he's quite counterable. You know, if you're going up against Link, Grimstroke, or like some Bloodseeker or something, it's just one of those where it's not consistent. Like the gameplay's not that consistent versus like a Doom.
Yeah. I think you have to be a gold Pango plus to not feed in the off lane and to actually go par. I feel like you have to have a lot of experience and speciality on the hero.
Yeah, but we're talking about a new hero to add.
Yeah, but Stan's not going to play 100 Pango games, whereas I feel like you need to just play 2 Doom games to get max potential. If you know what I mean.
Okay, well, what about
Yeah.
Mr. Watermelon?
Oh, Tide Hunter. I hadn't even considered him. I hate playing Tide. Every time I've tried him, I feed and it feels awful and I just don't understand how the hero's good. It feels like the worst hero in the game every time I play it, outside of Ravage.
Stan gets wrecked when he plays Tide.
I get absolutely ruffled whenever I play Tide. It's actually so brutal.
It is weird. You do see it in some games or pro games where it's kind of an unkillable monster, but then I just feel like it feeds sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of rogue shouts I have. I've got a couple of rogue shouts.
I have a rogue shout as well, and it's very different than your.
Okay, let's hit. I'm interested in what your rogue
melees.
shout is.
It's a ranged int hero, and he summons trees.
Can pub stomp, but can also pub feed.
Can split push. Can globally rotate.
I feel like there's the small but significant factor that you might tilt your team just by picking that hero, and then it's just over. I feel like people won't be happy with a Pulse 3 Fury.
It's
even though
so
it counts.
strong to like TP Orchid someone from the behind the trees. We talked about how it's 900 range, and then
It's quite greedy, I think.
it's greedy.
No stuns, no
Well,
lockdown.
the Sprout is really good.
Yep.
That's not a stun though, is it?
It is if no one has a
Jesus Christ,
Whatchamacallit?
these win rates.
what you call the Quelling Blade or a Battle Fury. I know Battle Fury is popular, but I mean we've seen these late game melee carries don't have it like a way to clip the tree anymore, and then you're just perma stuck.
These pub win rates, just for interest. Divine Plus, 43% win rate, 4 pick rate, 43%
Nice.
win rate at Ancient, 39% win rate at Legend.
Oh my word, it's
4.5%
abysmal.
pick rate.
Well,
These win rates are bad.
Speaking of win rates, the two heroes that have the best off-lane win rate, I think maybe Centaur is higher actually, but two heroes that have remarkably high win rates is my two unconventional picks, which is Darkseer and Enigma. So I don't know how you feel about flying into some DS or flying into some Enigma games.
I thought about Enigma,
some black
but
holes.
I don't think of him as a 3. Like, he's very versatile, so it's hard to say he's a classical 3. But you're never going to get me to complain about a hero that denies creeps, so...
Yeah. It's crazy how DS's win rate is so high. It doesn't strike me as a pub-winning hero, but I think maybe the changes to Wall of Replica mean it's just a solid standalone hero now. It doesn't rely so heavily on surging your allies. And obviously with Iron Shell you can do your own good stuff.
So people rush Ags on Darkseer. I'm trying to think what it does. So illusion damage dealt goes up.
It's the 350
I believe it's Iron Shell, isn't it? Yeah, 300 health.
And you get 2 charges.
Oh. Right. 2 charges and...
Plus 350 health when you throw it on something.
Oh my god. I don't know what... I think DotA buff is outdated, okay.
It used to be 12-second vacuum, and it was amazing.
Oh wow, it lasts 45 seconds now.
Yeah, it lasts 20 seconds longer, yeah.
And then the replenish times...
Just
9
giga shove.
seconds. What the hell? Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay, I can see why that makes the hero not completely garbage then, that Aghanims.
Yeah, so maybe DS is the way to go.
It's just a bit boring.
Yeah, it's so boring, I feel like. Again, I don't know, its win rate's really good in pubs, so maybe
is it boring?
So...
The hero... Okay, so the hero has epic, like, spikes and fun. The team fight. The blink, vacuum, wall combo stuff. And killing people with their own illusions. Like, you make a anti-mage illusion or a Medusa illusion or something. Like, that's a lot of fun. But the gameplay in between the spikes of fun is real, like, it might be some of the lowest fun. It might be like a 1 out of 10, and then you get the team fights, which are like a 10 out of 10. This is coming from someone who's played a decent amount of DS, like...
I think Enigma's worse for that. I think Enigma's even more boring in between team fights.
You are slower.
Yeah, you are.
Farming with Eidolons is so boring. At least
you
you can
gotta
surge
make
yourself.
It fun. You just gotta make it fun. You gotta play Darkseer, Spiritbreaker, and that's a lot of fun. You Spiritbreaker charge, and he surges you with an Ion Shell, and you just explode people. Like, that is fun.
That's one to try, me and you, Adam. Pos 3-4, we should do that next time we party up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, undecided. I will try one of those heroes, at least, before next week.
What about a funky Jakiro 3? Or a funky...
Well, there's Veno, Brewmaster, Enchantress. There is quite a lot.
What about a Phoenix? Or...
Bristleback!
Bristleback is fun. What about Snapfire?
Bristleback's a pub stompy hero.
Or Timbersaw.
Yeah, Timber's an interesting one, yeah.
Timbersaw is actually a decent one.
Yeah, Timber maybe. We haven't even mentioned Dawnbreaker.
Yeah, she's good. I'm trying to think of, like, a ranged hero.
Phoenix is a ranged hero
like,
that you can play through.
Winter Wyvern is pretty good. But those are more niche.
There's also Omni Knight, which has a surprisingly high win rate, although...
Alright, between Darkseer, Omni Knight, and Enigma...
Darkseer,
like
Omni Knight by Solar Crest is so boring.
Omni Knight is more boring than Darkseer.
Yeah, Omni Knight's just like a... I can't even farm on that hero.
Yeah, you can't. Omni Knight is so
Well, you
boring.
can use your Q, and then you don't have any mana.
And the creep's not even dead. You have to wait a minute of right click.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, one of those heroes we played. Maybe I'll get a Darkseer in or something.
30 heroes for
one more. Abaddon. What about Abaddon? That's pretty good.
I've never really tried ABBA, to be honest. I don't think I've ever played him. I played him once. Ever?
I think the hero's good. It's got good
3
talents.
times I played him, I think. Most recent was a win, so we're in. Nice. Don't know when this game was. Oh,
imagine
it was a...
three ABBA with 8 strength at 10 and 65 damage at 15. And then you're like bopping people.
Wow, my most recent ABBA game was actually a Dream 5 stack with Guest Nick and Brother Joe and us two, and all of us three. So that was the last time I played Abaddon in what appears to me the most unbalanced win of all time, where we've got 2 Immortals and me versus a Guardian, 2 Archons, a Legend, and an Ancient One. So not sure how that happened, but maybe Brother Joe's MMR is just like so low that it just bounces out.
Crazy,
Yeah. Well, there you go. One of those heroes will be tried at least. I'll report back, and maybe we can either play some more games or discard it and move on to the next hero to add to the pool.
Stands off lane corner.
Yeah, it stands off lane corner. Stands stat corner. I'm gonna have to break away, start my own podcast of just my own segments. But yeah, until next week, have a final whistle, and it's 140 next week. My word. But yeah, see you then.